What's going on, Dolphins fans? It's Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and today we're talking quarterbacks. It's going to be a training camp preview and breaking down the potential position battles going on in the quarterback position and going and predicting who's going to be starting at the top of the depth chart. I'm going to be doing this position by position leading up to training camp, which is surprisingly about 2 weeks away, which I'm very excited for. I'm getting that giddy first day of school vibes. But without further ado, I'm going to hop right into it on the quarterbacks currently on the roster. Obviously, we just went out and signed Mike White in free agency and picked up James Blackman from Arkansas State as an undrafted free agent. The other two quarterbacks on the roster, obviously, Tua Tagovailoa and Skylar Thompson, who played a couple games in his rookie season, and for a rookie quarterback, handled his own, especially as a seventh-round pick. Now, I'm going to go into, obviously, Tua is the starting quarterback. I don't think it's a debate to anybody. We all know this, and the main concerns around Tua are that he's injury-prone, and a thing I'd like to point out is throughout his career, Tua's proved year in, year out that he improves on the areas that people criticize him on. First, it wasn't he wasn't strong enough. He got stronger. He couldn't throw the deep ball. He threw the deep ball. And then now it is he can't stay healthy. He's been doing a lot of injury prevention work in the offseason, and I think he's going to show that work this season. I think he's going to stay healthy, and he's going to play all 17 games. So we don't even have to worry about backup quarterback. But it still needs to be talked about, and I think it is the biggest battle in the quarterback position is for QB2 between Skylar Thompson and Mike White. Obviously, Mike White just got paid pretty well as a backup quarterback this offseason, and he's going to be battling Skylar Thompson, who was a rookie last season but fared his own very well. He balled out in training camp, and he proceeded to make a couple starts for us in the regular season and started our playoff game, which is sad, but it happened. Now, he didn't necessarily thrive in the season, but when he came in, it does make it difficult for him to succeed. But this is the main storyline. It's between those two, and it's going to be a battle. I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. I think Mike White obviously struggled in OTAs, if you saw any of the reports from the reporters that were watching OTAs. And Skylar Thompson has the familiarity being on this team for already a year, going through OTAs and training camp last year and having a whole season under his belt in this scheme definitely gave him the early leg up. But how does Mike White come off of that poor OTAs performance and bounce back into training camp? In my opinion, I do think Skylar Thompson's going to end up winning the QB2 job. Before I break down Mike White's chance, comment down below. Do you think Skylar wins it or Mike White wins it? But I do think Skylar has the leg up just simply being in this scheme, having comfortable relationships with the players. Mike White just is dropped into it, and they're just going to have to compete. It's going to be a day in, day out. You guys know how training camp works. You see the Twitter timeline just flood with different reports, and it's like, oh, this guy went off, this guy sucked. And Skylar Thompson, all of last year in training camp, showed out. I think he threw one pick. It was very impressive what he did. He did very well in the preseason, and I think we expect that to carry into this season, and that's why I am comfortable to think that he might end up winning the QB2 job. But Mike White obviously has started games in this league. He's done a better job as a starter than Skylar Thompson has, and he's a locker room guy. Everybody in the locker room loves him and rallies around him. South Florida kid, and he's a gamer. You remember last year in Buffalo, he broke his ribs and was running back on the field to take more snaps, and he's a gamer, South Florida guy. I have full confidence in Mike White to push Skylar Thompson to the limits. And when some people make more money, for example, Mike White got signed to a 2-year, $6 million deal. Sometimes just the amount of money you make determines where you end up in the depth chart, and he could end up just being QB2 ahead of Skylar Thompson, who is an undrafted free agent. But I'd be on the lookout to see what potentially happens. And another potential scenario, maybe James Blackman, our fourth-string quarterback, shows up in training camp and shows that he's pretty good. Maybe the Dolphins keep Tua and Mike White and get some trade compensation for Skylar Thompson, a guy they know probably won't see the field, and you can get some value back and have two quarterbacks on the roster with James Blackman on the practice squad. They could do some kind of scenario like that. But in my opinion, I do think the quarterback room at the end of training camp, based off performance, is going to look like Tua, Skylar Thompson, Mike White, and then James Blackman, who will unfortunately probably get cut and maybe end up on the practice squad, but I wish him the best. I hope he maybe balls the fuck out and ends up on our roster or maybe gets signed by another team. So that's my projection for the quarterback room. Comment down below yours. Like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time, catch y'all.